Yes. Okay, for our third laboratory activity, we'll have VLAN configuration. So, as I always request to everyone, sa packet tracer activity natin, we need to fill in the user profile. Okay, this window appears when we open our packet tracer file. So, we fill in with our name and then our email address. Don't forget to do this kasi po if your laboratory activity is using the guest profile, that would actually invalidate your submission. Okay, so we must get used to this already kasi mas maganda na nako-customize siya. Okay, and for me to know that you really are working on with your lab activities individually. Okay, so yan, we have our instruction for the packet tracer VLAN configuration activity. So VLANs, as we know, are helpful in the administration of logical groups. So I'm reading on the background, allowing members of a group to be easily moved, changed, or added. So this activity of ours focuses on creating and naming VLANs and as well as assigning access ports to specific VLANs. Okay, our objective for this is first to verify the default VLAN configuration. Okay, and then second, we'll configure the required VLANs, and then part 3, we will assign the ports to their respective virtual local area networks. Okay, so on this document, sa instruction natin, we are also given the addressing table, but actually this has already been pre-configured on our end devices. So we have PC1 to PC6 with their IP addresses and their subnet mask. Okay, but looking on the rightmost part of the addressing table, okay, so let me get my annotator. You see that there are VLAN assignments here. So PC1 belongs to VLAN 10 as well as PC3. PC2 and PC5 must be under VLAN 20, and PC3 and PC6 must be at VLAN 30. Okay, so I've just minimized yung text font size of the instructions para magkasya siya. Okay? But actually, yan, pwede namang ganyang kalaki. Okay, so let's focus first on our configuration. For the packet tracer file, the topology or the network contains 3 switches. Okay, so we have S1, S2, and S3. Okay, so see switch 1 is connected to both the other 2 switches, and the other 2 switches are connected to end devices. So as we know, S2 has PC1, PC2, and PC3. So the configurations are right there. I mean, the IP address and the subnet mask are already assigned. And then for the other switch, CS3, it's connected to PC3, PC5, and PC6, and as well as an IP phone. So which means we can identify we have 3 VLANs, yung VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30, plus another VLAN for voice at this specific port. Okay, so remember, we can also have a voice VLAN for quality of service, specialized for IP phones, or anything that has something to do with transfer of voice information. Okay, yon. So this would be the configurations we'll be doing. So let's check on our PC. Okay, so if I double click our PC, we'll have the different apps on its desktop, and if we check on its IP configuration, it's actually already there. So IP ng PC1 is 172.17.10.21, so it's already configured. So we don't have to do that anymore. So we go straight to creation of VLAN and its name and assignment of the ports. Okay? So, sige. So, let me open the instruction again. Sorry, napunta doon. Let me close that one. Okay, so from here, close ko yan. So, we have the instruction here. All right? So, part 1. Okay. Let us view the default VLAN configuration. Okay, so step 1, let's display the current VLANs. On S1, we will issue the command that displays all VLANs configured. And by default, all the interfaces are assigned to VLAN. Okay, so let's check on this on all the switches. Kahit sinabi lang dyan is S1. So let's check on all the switches. So what command should we use to verify that VLAN configuration? Okay, so sa module 4 natin, so we have the show VLAN command to check on that. So I've selected switch 1. Okay, syempre, ayan, nag-initialize siya. Okay, so we are on S1 right now, and we have to, of course, enable. Okay, and from here, we'll issue the show VLAN command. Okay, so show VLAN, I'll just type. So I hope yung text naman is big enough for you to see. No? So VLAN, enter. All right. So when I enter the show VLAN, these are the information that was displayed. So we have the table with the VLAN. Ito yung assignment niya. So let me get my pointer again. So VLAN 1 is the default. We don't have to create this one. Nandiyan na siya. Status is active. And if you notice, all the ports, okay, for the switch 1, starting from fast Ethernet 01 up to 24, and gigabit Ethernet 01 and 0/2 are all assigned to VLAN 1. So that's the default. And then, of course, we have the special VLAN assignments, which are already there. Na-discuss natin on our lesson. So, nandiyan na yung 1002, 1003, 104, and 1005. Okay, so these are the VLANs we have for switch 1. So let me open switch 2, okay, to verify the VLAN for switch 2. We enable and then show VLAN command. Okay, so checking on switch 2, we also have the same VLAN default na VLAN 1. And all the ports are assigned to it. Okay, so nandun din siya lahat. So finally, let's check on switch 3. Okay. Okay, enable and then show VLAN. Right. Okay, so yan. So for switch 3, all the ports are also assigned to the default VLAN 1. Okay, F01 hanggang F024, and as well as the gigabit Ethernet interfaces. Okay, so we just minimize this and go back to the instruction. Okay, kita natin, di ba? May VLAN assignment and that's the default one. So let's verify connectivity between PCs on the same network. Okay, notice that each PC can ping the other PC that shares the same subnet. Okay, so now let's take a look at the IP or the network IP address assignment, which we would know what network they belong. So PC1 saka PC4, since we intend to have them on a single VLAN, pareho sila ng subnet. So this is 10.21, this is 10.24. Ito naman 20.22 and 20.25. PC3 and PC6 both belong to the network address 30. So 30.23 si PC3 and 30.26 naman si PC6. So let's try to ping from PC1, okay, using our command prompt. Okay, so let's try to ping PC4 from PC1. Okay, so we'll have the command ping 172.17.10.24. Right, so that's PC4. And if we press, yan, so we can connect to this one. Okay, so if we have other PCs po belonging to the same network, pwede natin silang i-ping kasi they are on the same network. So how about trying PC1 and PC5? Okay, from PC1, let's try to ping PC5 with an IP address of 20.25. Okay, so 20.25. So this is PC5 po. From PC1, well, we are trying to ping PC5. Okay, so of course, we expect since they are on a different network, diba? Hindi sila pareho ng subnet, we cannot actually ping that. Okay, so ginawa lang natin example as we add it to what is asked on the instruction. So we'll also try to ping PC5 from PC2. So from PC2, we'll also try to ping PC5 ulit. Okay, so let's try to, cannot move this one to go to check 172.17.20.25. All right, so this is PC5. Okay, kaya naman, diba? So they belong to the same network. Okay, so mapiping natin siya. So lastly, from PC3, so I've opened the command prompt of PC3. Let's try to ping PC6 this time. So ano naman ang IP address ni PC6? Liitan ko to. Sorry, ayaw niyang liitan. So let me just remove my spotlight. And I'll try to move this. Sorry. Control ko yung na-move ko. Okay, so PC6 is 30.26. So 172.17.30.26, right? So tama no? 30.26. And press enter. Okay. Yan. So nakakaping naman siya because they are belong to the same network, right? Okay, so let's continue with the instructions. So, pings to hosts on other networks fails. Of course, diba? So, na-try natin kanina. From PC1, we were not able to ping PC5 kasi it's on a different network. So, what benefits can VLANs provide to the network? Okay, so by the way, for this activity, you will be submitting both the document and the completed or accomplished packet tracer file. So, kindly answer, ano ba yung benefit of VLAN? Okay, so alam niyo na yan, diba? So, I'll just give you one example. Security, diba, is one of the reasons or benefits of having virtual LANs among end devices in a network. So, na-discuss naman natin yan on our lecture. So, please answer, what are the benefits that a VLAN can provide to a network? Right? Sige, so let's continue with part 2. Diba? Maiksi lang tong lab na to, lab activity na to. So we will be creating and naming VLANs on our switches. Okay, we'll start with S1. So we'll create and name the VLANs on switch 1 with the following. Okay, so VLAN 10 is for the faculty and students. Okay. VLAN 10 for faculty and students. So recalling, to create a VLAN, we just issue the command on the global configuration mode, VLAN space tapos yung VLAN ID. And then after pressing the enter, we just type in name, that's the keyword, and then the name for that VLAN. So we will be naming it faculty/staff for VLAN 10. So we'll also do next for VLAN 20 and 30. And then let's not forget to have VLAN 99 as our management and native VLAN. So by default, this is also assigned to VLAN 1, pero best practice is to assign it to a different VLAN para hindi parang lesser chance of being hacked. Management VLAN kasi yan. So, and then lastly, we'll have VLAN 150 for voice. Okay? So, let's go back to switch 1. Okay, switch 1 muna tayo. Okay. And I'll put this side by side with the instruction para kung hindi natin memorize, makita man natin. Okay? So, from S1, okay, we go to the global configuration mode with the command configure. Okay, and then just type VLAN, and then yung first VLAN ID natin is 10. Okay, VLAN 10, and then type in name faculty, staff. So, ganun lang. So, that's already created actually. So, to verify if that has already been created, go back to the privilege exec mode and then show VLAN. Okay? Ay, sorry. Ay, bakit hindi ako nakabalik sa privilege exec mode? So, exit, okay, and then show VLAN. Okay? Ayan. So, ano na dagdag? Okay? Previously, we do not have this one. Okay? But now, it's already been added. So, meron tayong VLAN 10, faculty staff. So, let's continue for the other VLANs. Tuloy-tuloy na lang natin. Ay, sorry. Config. Config lang na type. So, let's create VLAN 20 and the name, students. Okay? Make sure we follow the capitalization because as we know, this activity rated us with the completion. So, case sensitive siya. So, let's follow what is in the instruction. So, capital S, student. So, otherwise, hindi siya ma-rate. Okay? So, continuing, we'll have VLAN 30 and name it as guest default. Okay? With an open close parenthesis. That's VLAN 30. Next, VLAN 99. So VLAN 99. Name is management and native. Management and native. Okay. All right. So lastly, VLAN 150. And then the name is voice. All capital po. Kasi yun yung nasa instruction. So we have VLAN voice. All right. So after completing that, step 2, verify the VLAN configuration. Okay. So which command will only display the VLAN name, the status, and the associated ports on the switch? Okay. Kanina, we had typed in, balik tayo sa privilege exec mode. Kasi as we know, all show or display commands works in the privilege exec mode. Kapag nasa global configuration or any other mode tayo, hindi siya mag-work. So, but there is another way. Pwede kayong maglagay ng word na do. Okay, sige, try natin yun later. But since we are already in the privilege exec mode, so let's show VLAN again. Okay. Ay, bakit na? Exit pa nga. Isa pa. So, let's show VLAN. All right. And now we have all these VLANs created already. Okay. But the question is, what command should we use to only see the VLAN name, the status, and the associated ports? Wala tong mga iba na to. So, we type in show VLAN brief. And that's the answer for that question. Okay? Which command will only display the following? So, the answer is show VLAN brief. And then press enter. Yan. So, ito lang yung output niya. So, we only have the created VLANs, and then if you notice yung VLAN 1 natin still has all the ports pero na-create na natin yung VLAN, right? So okay naman tayo, di ba, sa VLAN, natapos na natin siya. So we'll continue by creating the VLANs on S2 and S3 using the same command as we did for step 1A and B. Okay, so we'll do that for switch 2 and switch 3. So, gawin natin ito ng mabilis. Okay, so enable, configure, so VLAN 10. Okay, so, let me show the instruction para hindi tayo magkamali. Okay, so we're at S2 right now. Right, so, nasa S2 tayo. VLAN 10, name is faculty staff. Right? And then VLAN 20, ganun ulit, name students. Right, next VLAN 30, name guest. Default, sorry, it has to be capital para ma-rate siya as okay. Okay, VLAN 30, next VLAN 99 for management and native VLAN. Okay, and lastly, VLAN 115 for voice. Okay. Okay. So, we control Z, okay, para makabalik tayo sa privilege exec mode and we show VLAN brief. Okay, show VLAN brief, press enter. Okay na. So, we have 10, 20, 30, 99, and 150 VLANs. Okay. Done na tayo with switch 2. Ganun lang siya kabilis. So let's go to switch 3 now. Okay, switch 3. Okay, so we'll create VLAN. I'll just put it on the side to have the instruction, making sure we get the correct name. VLAN 10, enter name, faculty, staff. Next, VLAN 20, name, students. Okay, next, VLAN 30, and the name, guest default. Guest default, press enter. VLAN 99, name, management, and native. And then finally, VLAN 150, name is voice, right? Yeah, so again, if we are not on the privilege exec mode and we wanted to display the show VLAN brief output, we just append the command do show VLAN brief. Okay, lagay lang tayo ng do kapag wala tayo sa privilege exec mode. So now we have the following VLANs created. Right? So, okay na tayo with all the VLANs. Verify the VLAN configuration. We just did, diba? So, chine-check na natin by having the show VLAN brief command. So, successfully, we have them created all. So, we're down to the part 3. Part 3 is assigning VLANs to port. So, how would the switches know na si PC1, which is on port F018, belongs to VLAN 10? So, how will the network knows that PC2, okay, which is on fast Ethernet port 18, siya pala to. Si PC1 is on fast Ethernet port 11. So, si PC2 ay nasa VLAN 20 and PC3 belongs to VLAN 30. Right? So, let us assign. So, S3, nandito pa lang pala tayo sa step 1. So, assign VLANs to the active ports on switch 2. Okay, but switch 2 agad. Okay, kasi ano na tayo. Okay, oo nga. So, we'll only assign for switch 2 kasi sila lang naman yung may end devices. So, no need for S1. Okay, so we only assign for actually S2 and S3. Ang mahalaga lang sa S1, we have created the VLANs. Okay, so now let's go back to S2. Where is S2? Open lahat. So, yan. So, this is our S2. Okay, and what we will be doing next is okay. Configure the interfaces as access ports and assign the VLAN as follows. So this is what we're gonna do. Go inside, under the global configuration mode, we go through the specific interface. Tapos ang command natin as we discussed on our lesson is switch port mode access. Okay, kasi end device connectivity. And then assign natin siya to which VLAN it belongs. Okay, so let's go back to the illustration or the topology. For switch 2, we have PC1 at fast Ethernet 011. So kaya siya yung inuna. Okay, pababa. So we will assign it to VLAN 10. Alright, so let's go to S2. Okay, and under the global configuration mode, so we go to configure, right? So we'll go to interface F011. So pwede siyang FA011 or F011. So fast Ethernet 0/11. So you noticed we are already on the interface configuration mode. What we will do is to assign it as switch port mode access. So we are assigning it to be an access access in access mode. So hindi siya trunk. 'Di ba dalawang klase 'yon? Either a trunk or as an access. Access means it's an end device to a switch connectivity. But if it's between two network devices, between two switch, trunk po 'yon. Okay? So we tama naman spell, no? Switch port mode access and then press enter. Right? we have another command, yung switch port access, and then to which VLAN it belongs. So, saang VLAN daw si Fast Ethernet 11? Yung PC1. So, sa VLAN 10 siya. So, we assign it to VLAN 10. Right? So, press enter. Okay? And then, let's see our show VLAN brief. So, for this single assignment pa lang, from the previous output, ito yung previous output natin, diba? F011 is actually here and it's belong to VLAN 1. Okay, so now we issue this command. Nilagay na natin siya sa VLAN 10. So let's show VLAN brief from here. Okay, so ito na yung new output natin. So where is FA011 now? So nandito na siya. Okay, so it's taken out from the default VLAN assignment and is now assigned to VLAN 10. Right? So let's continue with the other two interfaces. Okay, so punta tayo sa interface F0/18. Okay, that's for PC2, right? Okay, and then we assign it as, pwede nang mag-switch up dito. We go to switch port mode access. Okay, hindi na ako nag-type kasi I just used the history command. So, access din siya. And then, we only need to change the VLAN assignment. So, saan yung VLAN assignment ni PC2? So, VLAN 20, F018. Okay, so let's go back to switch to VLAN 20, CF018, sorry. VLAN 20. Okay, so press enter. And then, let's do the other one, the last one for switch 2. Interface F06. 6 lang ba to? 6. Okay. 6. Okay. So, pasok tayo sa interface 6. Assign it as access. And then, assign it to VLAN 30. Press enter. Right? So, now, let's show VLAN brief. Okay. Yan. So, ano na yung changes sa ating VLAN configuration? So, naka-assign na si F011 sa 10, F018 sa 20, and F06 sa 30. Right? So, we're done with S2. Okay, so now let's proceed to step 2. Sa step 2 po, ito na. We'll do the same for the VLAN assignments for PC4, 5, and 6. So, let's go back to the topology. Okay na tayo sa kabilang end. So, we're done with this one. Okay na tayo dito. Ay, sorry. Am I selecting it? So, we're done with this one. So, we'll work on this PCs. PC4, PC5, PC6 plus the voice VLAN. Okay? So, we'll open switch 3. Okay? Switch 3 naman tayo ngayon. And let me just close first switch. And, yan. So, exit lang tayo. Okay. So again, we go to the interface. So the first time we are typing on this new switch, interface F0/11 muna, diba? That's for PC4. So tama naman yung order, no? So let's double check. So this is 11, 18, 6, same lang. And then VLAN 10, 20, and 30 respectively. Okay, so that's switch 3 with the instruction. Okay. So interface F011, so we'll assign it as an access mode, switch port mode access. Okay, enter, and then switch port access VLAN 10. Okay, for F011, that's VLAN 10. Press enter. Right. Next is for Fast Ethernet 018. So interface 18, access, and then what VLAN 20. Okay, press enter. Last one is 6. F06. Mode niya should be access. VLAN niya should be 30. Press enter. Okay, so sige, let's show VLAN brief to verify. Okay, so F0, 11, 18, and 6 are now assigned to their respective VLANs. Okay? So, looking at step 3, done na tayo with step 2. So, looking at step 3, we need to assign the voice VLAN to fast Ethernet 011 on S32. So, let's look at the topology. Diba? So, aside from PC4, at Ethernet, fast Ethernet 0/11, we also need to assign a voice VLAN. Okay, so assign natin yung voice VLAN. Let's follow that command sa ating switch tree. Okay, so we go to that interface and then we type in the needed command, which are MLS space QoS space trust space cost. So MLS stands for multi-layer switching, quality of service for QoS, and then trust, and then hindi siya cost of service eh. So cost of service or ano ba yung C? So that's class of service. Okay, so class of service. So we just need to type that in and then finally assign natin siya sa VLAN. Okay? So, sige. Let's go to interface F0/11, enter, and then type in MLS, QoS, trust, class of service. Okay, enter. Assign it to the switch port. Okay. Switch port, hindi siya access, diba? So, switch port voice. And then VLAN. Anong VLAN number ng voice natin? If you can recall. 150, diba? So, 150. So, from this, nakita ko siya dito. Yan. So, yung voice na, wide drawing. So, spotlight. So, here, VLAN voice is 150. Okay, so yun yung susundin natin. So, we'll type in 150, then press enter. Okay. So, sige, mag-do show VLAN brief tayo. Okay. So, exempted lang po sa voice na pwedeng one interface, you assigned it as an access and at the same time a voice. Si voice lang yung pwedeng may kasama. Of course, we cannot assign a particular port to be an access and at the same time a trunk. So, hindi pwede yun. So, ayan o. So, FA011 is in the voice VLAN. In the same way, it's also on the access VLAN, faculty student. Okay? So, verify loss of connectivity. Okay, so this is step 4. Bakit nagkakaroon ng loss of connectivity na tayo ngayon kung kailan nag-assign na tayo ng VLAN? It's because the ports have already been assigned to their specific VLANs na. Okay, so let's show VLAN brief saan to? Sa S2. Okay, sige. Previously, PCs that share the same network could ping each other. Okay, so let's study the output out from the following command on S2 and answer the following questions based on our knowledge of communication between VLANs, because we had already discussed this in our lecture. So, pay close attention to Gigabit Ethernet 0/1 port assignment. So, sige nga, tingnan natin. So, sige, let's show VLAN brief. Okay, sa S2. Okay, so, get S2. Actually, nagawa na natin yan. Ayan, no? Show VLAN brief. So, do show VLAN brief. Okay. Okay, so for the output, okay, so sa S2 kasi, wala naman dyan yung voice, kaya we don't have assignment to voice here. Nasa S3 siya. And then notice daw that our Gigabit Ethernet interfaces, okay, ano ba yung Gigabit interfaces natin? Nasa VLAN 1 siya. So, if we look at the topology, yung Gigabit interfaces niya, this one is connected to the Gigabit interface of S1. So, which means possible na wala pang connection, di ba? From switch 3 to switch 2. So, let's try with pinging, okay, on the succeeding instruction po. Let's try to ping between PC1 and PC4. So, let's ping PC1 and PC4. So, I'll go back to PC1. Okay. And let's ping PC4 from here. So PC4, kung natatandaan natin, yung IP address niya is still this one. So let's just use the history. So 10.24 si PC4, right? So again, from PC1, we're trying to ping PC4. Okay, so press enter. Yan, it's taking a little time kasi 'di ba meron siyang time to live. So nagda-down count pa siya bago niya sabihin na hindi ako makakonect, or in the ICMP message it says request timeout. Okay, so it will do that 4 times, and the summary tells us there are no received packets, so 100% loss. Okay, so going back to the instruction, although the access ports are assigned to the appropriate VLANs, were the ping successful? So actually no, diba? So why? What could be done to resolve this issue? Okay, so as you notice, sa instruction natin, sa completion rate niya, it's already 100%. Okay? Kasi nagawa na natin actually lahat ng configuration on most of the switches. So it didn't include here how to resolve it. So we'll continue by resolving it by assigning these interfaces or these cables on switch 1 as trunk. Diba? Kasi switch to switch should be a trunk mode. Switch 1 to switch 3, dapat trunk mode siyang mga yan. So we will continue doing that. Okay? That's why for this activity, you'll be submitting not just the completed or accomplished packet tracer file, but will also be submitting the Word document. So I'll include that to be uploaded on our OpenLMS. Actually, hindi ko pa na-enable. It's already in our OpenLMS but still not enabled. So question sa last statement, what could be done to resolve this issue? So ang gagawin natin, we configure the ports between the switches as trunk. So sa tatlong switches, these ports, okay, so let me get that. So this port to this port must be configured as trunk, and as well as this one to this one must be configured as trunk. Okay, so gagawin natin yan, and you have to append it in the Word document. So don't forget to dagdag, okay? I-copy-paste po yung configuration na ginawa gagawin natin dun sa Word document. Okay, so that will be part of the checking of your activity. Okay, so we'll do it for all the switches. So let's start with switch 1. Balik tayo sa switch 1. Let me just clear this one. Wala na siya sa instruction, diba? So, but anyway, tuloy lang natin siya. So, na-refresh yung connection ko. So, I'll enable again. Okay. And go to the global configuration mode. Configure. What we will do is for the interfaces of S1, for both gigabit 0/1 and 0/2, we have to assign this with the mode trunk, right? So we can do the configuration for a range of contiguous interfaces. So we'll do that for both gigabit Ethernet interfaces of switch 1. So we'll have interface range G0/1 to 2. Okay, so that we don't need to configure individually for each interfaces. So since they'll be having both configurations, so we can do it through the range. Okay, through the range. So it's important that the interfaces are contiguous. So 1 to 2, dalawa lang sila. So from here, we assign the mode to trunk, switch port, mode, trunk, and then press enter. So as you noticed, the status has changed from down to up, and then from down to up then. Okay, so let's continue by assigning it to our native VLAN, which is 99. So we'll type in the commands which switch port, trunk, native VLAN 99. Right? Again, switch port, trunk, native VLAN 99. So this command is used to assign gigabit Ethernet interfaces G0/1 and G0/2 to VLAN 99. So let's press enter. All right. And then type in no shot. Okay. So, Now we're done with We're done with switch 1. We'll do next for switches 2 and 3. Okay, so 2 and 3 naman. So notice that ayun, nagkaroon ng status of down and then naging up siya ulit for the other two switches. Okay, kasi nagbago. So sige, let's try to display the VLAN configuration assignment by typing the show VLAN brief. From switch 1 pa rin tayo. Okay, so if you notice, gigabit 01 and 2 are not in the default VLAN anymore. Okay, but we don't see it on the VLAN management and native yet. So wala pa siya dyan. Kasi as you see, it's still propagating. Okay, so nagpa-process pa. And we received this notification. So VLAN, native VLAN mismatch discovered from switch 1 gigabit Ethernet 01 kasi nilagay na natin siya sa 99, but then S2 which is connected to this gigabit Ethernet port is still at VLAN 1. So there is a mismatch. So sinasabi lang sa atin. So ganun din on the other interface. So there is a mismatch because the interface we configured on gigabit Ethernet 0/2 doesn't match with S3, which is still at VLAN 1. So of course, we are yet to assign it to switch 2 and switch 3. Kaya yun yung next natin na gagawin. Alright, so ganun pa rin yung show VLAN brief natin. Mismatch pa rin siya. So we go now to switch 2 and switch 3 to apply the change in VLAN. Okay, so nandito. So this also received the notification. Okay, so let's enable and go to configure. Right? And then we go to the interface. Yung sinasabi niya na mismatch is actually G01 of switch 1 and G01 also of the current switch 2. So let's go back to our topology and check. So here, switch 2 has the interface G0/1. So that is what we want to assign as a trunk and assign belonging to native VLAN 99. Right? So let's go back to switch 2. Right? So nasa na tayo? We have to go to interface G0/1. Okay? Pag nandyan na tayo, switch port, mode, trunk. Right? Wrong spelling, sorry. So that's switch port, mode, trunk. Press enter. And then switch port, trunk, native VLAN, assign it to 99. Right? And then of course, don't forget to no shot. Okay? So no shot na. Ulitin ko lang yung no shot. Right? So there is again another notification telling na port consistency has been restored. Okay? So na-restore na siya. And we proceed to switch 3 na. So for switch 3, okay, enter lang natin. So we enable configure terminal. We go to interface G0/2, enter. Type in the switch port mode trunk, right? And then switch port trunk native VLAN 99. Okay, so press enter lang. Okay, sinabi niya ulit may mismatch, but then it was restored. Okay, and then of course no shot. Right? So we're done with our configuration with S3. So this time we will try to ping na po for the end devices belonging to the same VLAN. Okay, so from R1, take note previously we had tried pinging PC1 to PC4. So PC4 is 17.10.24. So let's try to ping it this time again. So press enter. And now we are getting a reply. All right, so let's do for PC2. So sa PC2, we'll ping 20.25 okay, which has the IP address 20.25. So ping lang natin siya. So still, we are getting a reply. We didn't test this kanina. Okay, so and then lastly, for PC3, okay, so let's try to ping 30.26. Okay, so ping 30.26. And yan, we also are getting a reply. So kanina, before we configure the switches, gigabit Ethernet interfaces with trunk, ang tinry lang natin is PC1, diba? Ito. So we failed yan at that point. But after configuring the trunk switch port modes to the 3 switches, so okay na tayo. We again can ping our PC4 from PC1. Okay, so that completes our laboratory activity on VLAN configuration. Don't forget to append the last set of commands we did for switches 1 to 3 for the trunk mode and for assigning it to VLAN 99.